In Chapter 5, we're going to be learning how to create an image map. Okay. With an image map, the entire image becomes clickable, or a portion of the image becomes clickable and becomes a hotspot that will take the end user to a second web page. If you look at the example on page 203, the states are the clickable links to each individual web page, one for Arizona, one for California, and so on. Okay. So you're going to be creating a home page, which is the Southwest page, and then the 3 sub pages. Okay. You will need to go to Course Sites and get your data files for students for Chapter 5. Okay. On page 204, you'll see these are the tasks that you will be able to complete when you're done with this project. Obviously, entering HTML code, saving and testing your file. We will be using Paint to map the coordinates of our images, and there will be a separate tutorial on that. As well as reviewing some basic HTML tags. You will be inserting an image to be used as an image map. You'll be mapping the hotspots on that image. You will create links to other web pages from the home page. We will be using a horizontal menu bar for this. We'll spiral back and review how to add an email link. You will create new web pages, and you will validate and test your page to make sure it's working. Okay. So in this chapter, you're using an image map to create 3 clickable areas with a simple image, each with a link to a different web page. The outlines, although will be visible on the figure, are not going to be visible on your web page. One of the risks of using image maps is that the end user has to know that this is a clickable image. Because of that, when you have a web page with an image map, it's always a good idea to include a text link as well. And that way, if the end user is having any troubles, they have that second option. Okay. In this chapter, you will also be learning to use an image map to create a button bar, which is a menu, but instead of text, using graphical images, as seen in the sample on page 207. Okay. On page 208, there's an example that shows how you can divide a geographical map into hotspots. On the bottom of page 208, you can see that the travel industry uses this so that people can look at the different rooms on different levels of a cruise ship that they might want to sign up for. On page 208, there's a couple examples of how organizations might use images linking to their products or services in a more visually appealing way. All right, in this chapter, you're going to learn that there's 2 types of image maps. There's what's called a server-side and a client-side image maps. Okay. In a server-side image map, the image is displayed by the client browser and implemented by a program that runs on the web server. When the visitor clicks the link on their server-side image, the browser sends the coordinates of the mouse click to the web server, which interprets them and links the visitor to the correct web page listed. Okay. In this type of setup, the web server does all of the work. With a client-side image map, the browser does all the work. Most web developers prefer to work with client-side image mapping. This does not have to send the XY coordinates of the mouse click to the web server for interpretation. Instead, the coordinates are included in the HTML file along with the URL to the web link. When the visitor clicks on the web page link, the client-side image map, the browser processes the data without interaction to the web server. So there are many advantages and disadvantages to both types. Okay. Before we actually get started selecting images, turn to page 210 and take just a minute to look at the process for mapping an image. Okay, step one is going to be to select an image that's going to be easy to use, so it has some defined edges. You may want to sketch out the hotspots on the images. You're going to map the coordinates for each hotspot using Paint program. And then you're going to create the HTML code using the numbers that you get from Paint. Okay, so go on to tutorial 2 now on selecting images.